Hey guys, welcome back to the Comic Book Lowdown. I'm Wellington, bringing you guys my pool week video for this past week in comics. Been procrastinating on it pretty hard as it's probably Monday when you're seeing this video of my reviews. I usually try to put them out by Friday or Saturday, or worst case scenario Sunday, and it's beyond the worst case scenario as I'm putting it up on Monday. But whatever, it's my reviews still, they're up, and just haven't had time. I just got to read my books Sunday, and I worked all day, so couldn't make the video. And so yeah, so I've got how many? I've got seven books to review, and we'll just get started. First book, as you might know, unless you're new to my videos, I review from least liked to most liked, and all the reviews are timestamped in the description box, so you can click right to a specific review that you want to see. So yeah, we'll get started with the book I liked the least for this week, and that was Amazing X-Men issue number 2. There's no story really behind this. It's just all fighting, and it's not really interesting fighting either. And that was all that this book was. I didn't really get any new information from the last issue. Nor did I really care when I was reading this book. I'll probably not pick up the third issue, not because it's a bad book, but because I was already hesitant to start picking this book up. I only picked it up because I don't pick up an X-Men book, and it had Nightcrawler. And this issue had Nightcrawler in it for like one panel, and the rest of it was just fighting. And again, it wasn't very interesting either. So, and there's a lot more books coming in this all new wave of Marvel now that I want to pick up a lot more than I want to pick this up. So, that's just it. That's all I have to say about Amazing X-Men issue number 2. Maybe other people like it. I didn't really like it. It's just my opinion on that. Next book is Marvel Knights Spider-Man issue number 3 of 5. At this point, I'm just going to finish the mini, but I'm still not... Each issue gets more clear, but it's not to the point where it's super clear yet. But there were a lot of cool moments in this issue, like when Peter Parker Spider-Man encounters Venom and Carnage, and actually we get a realization in this issue that it seems like the villains that Peter's fighting, or that Spider-Man's fighting, it seems like they actually are the villains, but also that they are there against their will as well, is kind of what it's looking like. I could be wrong. The dialogue is kind of confusing at some points, and the art, even though it's really good, it's really crazy. But it's all supposed to be like that, because that's kind of what this book is. It's not for everybody. I'm not even sure if it's for me, but it is Spider-Man, so I really want to read it. So, there's Marvel Knights Spider-Man issue number 2. Really short reviews on these first 2 books. Sorry about it. The third book, I wasn't disappointed in, but I'm shocked to see it come so early in my reviews, and that's Deadpool issue number 20. A lot of people had been saying that this issue wasn't what they had expected it to be. I can agree and also disagree with that. I knew it wouldn't be what a lot of people were hoping it would be, but I also thought it was going to be this was one of the lesser funny books that was trying to be funny, just because I didn't really jive with a lot of the jokes. Though, I mean, not that they weren't funny, but they weren't hysterical as they had been, which they don't have to be every time, because that's hard to make comedy like that consistently. So I don't blame them. And I knew it wasn't gonna be what a lot of people thought it was gonna be. People were hoping that it would kind of continue with the seriousness, or at least have a blend between serious and comedy for the next issues. I knew it wouldn't be that for this issue because it is a back in time issue. Therefore, all the seriousness from last issue or the last arc hadn't happened yet. Chronologically, all that stuff hasn't happened during the events of this issue. So that's why I didn't expect all that seriousness. I expected this to be pretty silly, as it was. Very sci-fi 60s type deal. Pretty much a bunch of watchers, like Deadpool. He goes to Wakanda for a vacation, and instead the Watcher comes down because he finds like a puzzle piece from a meteorite that crashed there, and the Black Panther's not there, so the Wakandan people ask Deadpool to investigate what the puzzle piece means, and the Watcher shows up and he tells Deadpool what he needs to do, and then Deadpool does all this stuff, and he runs into like Fin Fang Foom and another guy that I forgot his name, and he runs into the Thing, and that stuff is pretty funny. But overall, it was a very entertaining issue. The art in it is fantastic. I really like at the start of each issue, they have like a little Deadpool that catches you up to speed with things. And sometimes it stays the same with him, like hand up in the air or something like that. But in this one, it's kind of consistent with what happened in the last arc, and that it gives an explanation as to why we're going into another flashback issue. So I really like that, and there was no letters page, just because I really like the stuff that they do. That's not even in the story itself. So I give them major props for that. And then the next issue is going to be back to the regular arcs, as what I would expect. And so yeah, that's Deadpool issue number 20. It was entertaining. It wasn't the best issue, but still not bad. Now this book was pretty cool. Some stuff I'm still not caught up on yet because I've only picked up 3 issues, and I should have been picking it up before, but I wasn't. And that is Green Arrow issue number 26. This cover is awesome, and what this issue is all about is pretty much the war is going to start now. I mean, it doesn't really. That's not what it's about, really. That kind of happens towards the end of the book, but excuse me. Shadow and Oliver go back to the island and search for the head arrow, or whatever it is, and it's a lot. There's the stuff that I really liked about this issue was all the stuff dealing with like Oliver being on the island before, and his experiences when he was first on the island, and the art in here is fantastic, like I've said before. Just the book is a great read. The only things that keep me from putting this higher on my lists is that I haven't read the issues like issue 17, the first arc of Lemire's run. So I'm not caught up on some of the people and some of the things that are going on. But I do know about the whole Count Vertigo stuff and what Vertigo did to Oliver, and he's recovering from that in this issue, and Flife or Filth and Naomi, they're really worried about him, while Shadow is just like, we need to go to this island and find some stuff. And that's a bad summary of what happens in this issue, but I don't want to give too much away. This is a pretty good issue though, and I recommend Green Arrow for everyone. Something that really made me laugh about this issue is the end and what they kind of tease for the next issue, which is pretty much the start of the war, and it's going to be the Shield clan versus the Arrow clan, and the next issue is called like Arrow versus Shield, and I don't know if they did that on purpose or if they did that by accident, but I just love how it's like, oh, Arrow, and then how there's the Arrow show and then the Shield show, and they kind of compete because one's DC, one's Marvel. I mean, there's no way it couldn't have been done purposely. No way that couldn't have been purpose. Because that's the thing I thought of immediately. But yeah, so that was really funny to see that. But the rest of this issue, there's not funniness. Not that I can remember. It's just awesome stuff and great dialogue, great story. Just forwarding the story, and I love this book. I'm glad I picked it up now. This next book is ending next issue, and it's going to be pretty cool to go back and read all the issues and review them. This is Daredevil Dark Knights issue number 7 of 8. This is the second to last issue of the final arc of this anthology. This is the whole Daredevil and Misty Knight team up in Miami, and this issue going to Cuba. It's really cool to see Daredevil out of his element, and I think the only reason it works out so good is because Jimmy Palmiotti does such a good job at writing it, because this could easily go south if it wasn't handled right, and I think Palmiotti's handling it right, so it's making for an interesting story, and it's really cool to see, just Daredevil operating somewhere that is not New York, especially with Misty Knight, and there's always this like tension between them, like a sexual tension between them, not in a bad way, in a good way, I guess you could say. I just love this book. There's a lot of action in here, but the story is really interesting as well. Pretty much, Daredevil kind of... Okay, so the reason that Daredevil goes to Miami is what we also find out in the first issue of this arc. But the reason he's in Miami is because he's representing a person who's a witness to a murder, who's going to testify to that murder, or testify in court about the murder, and about seeing the perpetrator, the murderer, and the murderer is kind of like the he's the brother of like the South, like the Miami and Cuba kingpin. So he's got a lot of influence, and what happens is that their gang kidnaps and takes to Cuba the person that was about to testify, and so of course Daredevil, he's gonna be Daredevil and try to get him back, and Misty Knight also has what's it called? She has an interest in the case because it's dealing with her area and the kingpin in her area, and then we find out she has an even larger interest in the case later on in this issue that I don't want to spoil. But it's all really cool. It's all really nice to see. There's some Spanish parts in here that, unless you know how to read Spanish, you can't read it, but I can, so that was fun. But it's not major dialogue. It's just like ordering some shoes and some clothes and things like that. But it's still fun to see. And I just really like this book. All the arcs are kind of different. The first one I can say was probably my favorite. just because it was so like just so street level and so heart pounding suspense. And then the second arc was the shortest arc, and that was kind of that was like a chase, and this one is a lot of just action. So each of them are different. You get what you want in all of them, honestly. And I recommend people pick this up when it hits the trades, because it's going to be great. These last two books are the books that were definitely ones that stood out to me. And this one right here is Swamp Thing issue number 26. This book was awesome. We never see Alec Holland Swamp Thing in here because, of course, he got defeated by the Cedar. But he's kind of like, because once you are retired as the Swamp Thing, or retired as the Avatar, and a new one comes, they have all your memories, but you also have all of their memories. So Alec Holland is going back and he's remembering all of the Cedar's memories and all his feelings and things like that. And you kind of see how jealous and how pretty much crazy the Cedar is as he's growing up and pursuing his crusade against people who harm the environment. And at the same time, Cedar, this new Avatar, wants to prove himself to the Green. So what does he do? He right away. Well, first he doesn't kill her, but he pretty much gets rid of Capucine, and he scares her to the point where she runs away. And then he goes ahead and he attacks Buddy Baker, and this issue is supposed to take place in between issue 19 and the latest. No, not the latest issue. It takes place in between issues 19 and 22. So that was pretty much before all the Brother Blood stuff started really taking its place. Yeah, so this issue was just really good. The fight between Buddy Baker, Animal Man, and Cedar, Swamp Thing, Avatar guy, was crazy. Buddy Baker's a badass. When you read him in Animal Man, you're like, wow, this guy he's a mess with his powers. He doesn't know what he's doing. But then when you see him fight Avatar, it's like, sit down, because you're in the big leagues. While, at the same time, Buddy Baker doesn't look like he's in the big leagues when he's fighting other people. But, I mean, can't say much about that. Just gotta roll with it. This issue was awesome. I love the design for the Cedar Swamp Thing. This book is just really good. I love Charles Soule in this book. I want to go back and I want to read the New 52 Animal Man and the New 52 Swamp Things from the start, to see the whole Rot World thing, and it's in trades, of course, because that's kind of a long thing, and but in trade it was probably read a lot better. Swamp Thing issue number 26. Swamp Thing's a book that everybody should be reading. It's just a really good one. I recommend it wholeheartedly. But my pick of the week, which this book has actually come out every week for the past month. Past 4 weeks, so past month. This book has come out a lot, but it's so awesome right now. Really caught my attention, but not because of its main character, because of other characters, and that is Superior Spider-Man issue number 23. Awesome cover by Ramos, actually. I'm not gonna start saying anything about Ramos anymore because his art has grown on me. I think it's either grown on me or he's even just gotten better. I think he's actually gotten better, because a lot of his characters are more, even though they're kind of still sharp and lanky, I guess you could say, he's just doing better job at making it appeal to me, I guess. With Dan Slott, he has so many stories going that you won't see specific stories in other issues, and then they might show up again in another issue. For example, in this issue, we get reminded that, oh yeah, Miguel O'Hara is still in this universe. The 2099 Spider-Man is still the assistant to Tiberius Stone. So, it's like, okay, we're still going to do stuff with this character being in this universe. And we get some more MJ stuff, and we get some more Carly stuff. But the main story between, the fight between Venom and Spider-Man starts going it's just done really well, because it kind of does the classic Eddie Brock, Peter Parker dance, where, Eddie Brock kind of knows Spider-Man, or knows Peter Parker Spider-Man. He's always showing up at the house, kind of, terrorizing Peter, but at the same time, being really nice to May. It kind of does that in this book with a different twist. Flash Thompson manages to escape Spider-Man's, his grip, I guess you could say. He manages to escape the whole situation, and as Flash Thompson, he drawing a blank. As Flash Thompson, he goes to Peter's house to talk to a friend, and as we know, Doc Ock is now Peter Parker, and he's purged all of Peter Parker's memories. So Doc Ock, Peter Parker, does not know Flash Thompson other than this is Venom. So it's really cool to see, kind of Flash Thompson Venom show up at Peter Parker's living space, as Peter Parker only knows Flash Thompson as being Venom. And there's just this whole, wacky scene, and then it's just escalated by Anna Maria being there, and Aunt May, and Jay being there, and then there's some more stuff with the mayor. It's just so many stories that it's always, it jumps story to story, but I think it's done very well. This arc is really good. I don't expect people to jump back on this book, but the ending of this book is pretty crazy as well, and I think Doc Ock is an idiot, because he's too smart for himself, that it makes him dumber, and he kind of gets what he deserves, but at the same time doesn't deserve what he gets. I don't want to spoil the ending, but this book has just been really good right now, and yeah, can't wait till the next issue comes out. But that's all the books I had. 7 books, couple really good ones, couple good ones, and then 2 that were so-so. But yeah, probably will also have a Friends of the Lowdown video up. I've procrastinated on that one super hard, so be on the lookout for that one. I got a couple people to shout out, not too many. So that's it for me, guys. I'm Wellington, signing off for the Comic Book Lowdown, and I'll see you guys next time.